everyone, I'm Rebecca McLaughlin-Duane, and this week we're taking you behind the scenes of one of the biggest perfumers in the region to explore the mystic world of Middle Eastern oud.
Well, the smell of success would obviously be oud.
Later in the show, we're suited and booted in Iraq to find out how young, stylish Kurdish men are expressing themselves through traditional and contemporary fashion. But first, let's step back in time and through the doors of possibly the oldest royal tailor in the UAE. Salim Es Said went along to get the measure of the man at the helm of the family business.
Tourists walking in the souks of Dubai's Old Dera district might not realize that they're passing alongside a Dubai landmark. This corner tailor shop, called National Tailors, is known for making kanduras, a traditional garment worn by men in the Gulf region, and it contains relics from the UAE's past. There are photographs of the now nearly 80-year-old owner and founder of the business, Abdul Rahman Al Madani, meeting with sheikhs, the royals he proudly made clothing for through the decades. Abdul Rahman's son, Muhammad, who is now CEO of the family business, recalls how royals from Abu Dhabi also like their style of tailoring.
We are actually here in the oldest shop of tailoring in Dubai and actually in the whole United Arab Emirates. I remember my father saying that even the kandura of Sheikh Zayed, rahmatullah alayhi, so they all used to come and stitch here.
In the late 1940s, when the city of Dubai centered around Al Ras, bordering Dubai Creek, Abdul Rahman would sit outside his shop and power his sewing machine with a foot pedal, and building a list of local and royal clients who would boat across the creek to make their orders.
Sure. The sheikhs, they were good people. They would walk by and say, Assalamu alaikum. They'd want a kandura quickly. They'd ask, can you make a kandura by today? And I would say, yes, I'll get it done.
Abdul Rahman reportedly became the first tailor to make a kandura for Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, the ruler of Dubai from 1958 to 1990, and also his then young son, the current ruler, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Despite Abdul Rahman's success, he never wanted his son Muhammad to follow in his footsteps. Instead, he wanted the young man to get the education he never had.
My father, whenever I used to sit on the machine, he said, get up, I don't want you to be a tailor.
Muhammad became an engineer, but tailoring was in his blood, and he developed the family business, expanding it to modern clothing shops too. National Tailors now has 6 shops and around 100 staff. Iftikhar Ali is a master cutter who's worked here for more than 32 years since the age of 18. He took me to meet the rest of the workforce, some of whom have been here for 40 years. Dishdashe, thobe, kandura, these are all words for the long garments men wear in countries of the Arab Peninsula, and in the UAE, they have their own look. With no breast pocket or collar, the Emirati kandura has chest buttons and is decorated with a tassel called a tarbush. Fine embroidery circles the neck and sleeves. New looks are always emerging, and Dubai's young royals often set the trends. But the old style will always be popular, and after around 60 years of making kanduras, Abdul Rahman remains confident that traditional is timeless.
A scent common to the homes, cafes and shopping malls of the UAE is the smoky perfume oud, and it's been pivotal to the region's cultures for centuries, but it's now having to move with the times. To get the full picture, Inspire was given exclusive access to a major oud perfumer in the Middle East.
If you've ever wondered what the smell of success is like, most Middle Eastern perfumers will give you the same answer.
Well, the smell of success would obviously be oud.
The highly prized fragrance, characterized by its heady, musky notes, has been the cornerstone ingredient of traditional regional perfumes for thousands of years. Men wear the pure oil as cologne, whilst women commonly waft the exotic perfume through their hair and clothing through the wood-chip incense version called bakhur. 3 generations of Abdul Ajmal's family have lived and breathed the oud business.
People say about my father, they say oud speaks to him. He's able to identify the different grades, the different qualities. I can fairly comfortably say that we're covered for a few generations.
Abdullah is banking that oud's popularity won't wane, despite cheaper synthetic commercial perfumes flooding the market. And extracting the dark resin oud from Indian Agarwood trees is a costly business for him, with a kilo of wood yielding just 1 millilitre of resin and a 12 millilitre bottle of high-quality oud perfume fetching around $3,000. To keep up with demand for the luxury product in the Middle East, Ashmal imports more than 40 tons of oud wood every year, and its manufacture is long and arduous.
It is absolutely worth it because labor of love, that is the essence of it all. Perfumery industries, it's an apprentice-style profession, and you've got to be patient, and you have to have the passion.
Abdullah, I wish we had smell-o-vision because there's a fruity, smoky, peppery smell in the air, but no two noses are the same. So how do you interpret oud?
We're both smelling the same thing, but some origins have the fruity aspects. Indian, for example, tends to be more earthy. Far Eastern versions tend to be more smoky. So these are the only subtle differences, but obviously for the customer, it makes a huge difference. Emiratis prefer more Indian origin notes, whereas Saudis prefer more what we call Kambodi, but typically it's more from the Far East.
Oud's smell can be affected by many factors, from the wood's origin to whether it's wild or cultivated, and even how long it's purified at high temperatures in pressurized vats. Famous global perfume houses have started to integrate oud into their ranges in order to target Middle East clients. And Emirati chemical engineer and perfume mogul Ali Al-Jabberi, who manufactures his fragrances in France, believes this caters well to changing consumer tastes. He also points to local clients increasingly seeking out personalized fragrances from boutique producers with very limited production.
Today, I guess niche perfumery is the trend worldwide, especially in this region, where the growth is really dramatic and it's even attracting big companies to be part of it. Niche perfumery is like brands are dedicated to quality perfumes. They're really small, they don't have a big budget, but they're all about quality perfumes.
Ali represents progressive perfumery and believes that infusing traditional local ingredients like oud with notes from afar is the way forward.
I love vanilla. Vanilla blends very well with oriental fragrances. It's like the international sweet scent. You can never go wrong with it.
Despite his designs on reinventing oud for the future, Ali will always be respectful of its past.
Growing up in a culture where perfumes and incense and oils are a big part of it, I still remember when my mother used to burn frankincense in particular, especially in the afternoon. My grandmother loved oud oils, so she was using oud, and that was the only thing she was using.
A men's fashion movement in northern Iraq has been gaining traction since it established itself, and it now has more than 91,000 followers on Instagram. Rosie Lai-Thompson investigates the social community called Mr. Erbil, otherwise known as the Kurdish Gentlemen's Club, for all things style-related.
Sharp suits, perfectly trimmed beards, and a mutual love of fashion. These dapper men are turning the ancient streets of Erbil into a catwalk. They call themselves Mr. Erbil and are the first and only gentlemen's fashion club to hit the Kurdish capital in Iraq. Founded in 2016 with conflict across the border and tumbling oil prices impacting the economy, the fashionistas were determined to bring elegance back to their country.
It was a tough situation back in the days, and we just couldn't wait for the government or for anyone else to do so. So we were becoming the next generation, and we want to do something in a positive way. Grandfather, for example, when they went to a tea place or somewhere to the bazaar, they always dressed nice. And it's just a little bit in our culture, but which was unfortunately got a little bit forgotten. So we're trying to bring the heritage back into our society.
What started as a group of friends and an Instagram page soon swelled to 91,000 followers, transforming the men into style icons.
I want people to see us that you can live the life you want, whatever the situation is. no matter where you're living, you can do what you want.
The gentlemen of Mr. Erbil are determined to fuse their modern bespoke suits with the traditional Kurdish heritage, and it's here in this ancient souk that their inspiration comes to life. And they're not just pretty faces. The Instagram sensations are turning their newfound fame into business. Working with tailors and merchants, the men have learned the secrets and craft behind their heritage, enabling them to launch a bespoke tie collection and a male grooming range sourced and produced locally.
And this idea actually came up with why not using our own local fabric, which we use actually for our traditional Kurdish clothes. And we said, hey, let's use this clothes and make it into a tie.
The Mr. Erbil Clubhouse is planned to be open later this year, housing a barista, barbers and tailor. The gentlemen are hopeful to not only be a home for style advice, but also a voice for social change. Already advocating for women's rights and environmental issues on their social media platforms, the Clubhouse will soon school the next generation on how to be gentlemen.
Well, that's a wrap for this week. And don't forget, you can catch all of our episodes online at Euronews.com. Before I leave you, here's what caught the attention of the Inspire team on social media. Iraqi fashion blogger Arkan is demonstrating his cutting-edge sense of style in this photo. Teaming sneakers and a trucker cap with his kandura, Adil from Morocco describes his style as the Orient meeting the Occident. And Saudi-based Angeliki from Greece says she loves oud as it reminds her of her homeland.